Welcome to another provider preview. I'm Julie Hatfield-Still, president of Beyond the Game Alliance. We're a nonprofit organization. Our mission is to take a proactive and holistic approach to transitioning athletes from sports to career and life beyond the game. We do this through our framework of coaching, education, and practical skill building, as well as aligning ourselves with amazing providers who can service our athletes in their specific need. With that said, I am honored to introduce one of our service providers and Beyond the Game Alliance directors, Kristi Wyatt. Kristi, welcome to the room.
Hello. Thanks, Julie. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so Kristi is going to be playing a very key role with our athletes in a couple of different capacities, but today we're going to talk about her role in financial planning and financial literacy with our student athletes. One of the questions that comes up and one of the biggest concerns that we hear from student athletes as they start to think about life beyond the game, becoming more independent, growing up, stepping out on their own is like, how will I make money and save it? How do I pay off debt? What about my own financial wellness? Well, the good news is Kristi's well-versed in all of this, and she's going to help them answer some of these questions. But before we dig into some specifics around that, Kristi, would love to hear just a little bit about your athlete story and what really happened to lead you to your current career and what you do day to day.
Absolutely. Thank you. So lifelong athlete, softball is my sport, and played since I was a little girl, played travel ball when I was younger, played some in college, and came out of college, even played as an adult, which is where you and I met. And good times. And going throughout my professional career, went into some financial planning myself through some different programs and went on to teach that with some of employees as well as at my church, things like that. So I just get a lot of pride, I guess, in mentoring others and helping them succeed, whatever it may be. But financial literacy is definitely one of those things where I think I can excel at and help these guys with it.
And I love that so much, Kristi, because you've literally been in their shoes. What was the transition from kind of sports? And I know you play, well into your later years here, but in competitive sports, when you stepped out, kind of what were your thoughts around your financial experience, where you were financially, anything there for you that might be beneficial for our kids to hear?
Well, I can remember that time. It's like, okay, well, you got to get a full-time job. You have to get health insurance. You have to be able to pay your own bills. You have to do all those things. Well, how do you do that? Right. And luckily I had parents that helped me and taught me some of those things, along the way. Not everybody has that. Right. So being able to help them along the way and help them build budgets and things like that, that's definitely a key role in how to save and how to pay off your debt.
Mm. I love that. What I hear in that is this is a skill set that even if athletes don't have it right now, it's something we can build. And with what you're bringing to the table with the Alliance, I think we can build it quite quickly as well and really set these athletes up for success.
Absolutely.
So you're going to be providing some workshops for us throughout the year, as well as the potential for some coaching if students may need a little extra support and customization in that. For you, why was it important that you play this role in the Alliance and really step up and help our athletes in this way?
Well, I work with a lot of student athletes, doing some other coaching. I do some recruiting coaching as well to help student athletes if they want to play their sport at the next level. So helping them in that way, and it's just a passion of mine to help youth in general, but student athletes, of course. But knowing, kids coming out of high school or whether they're coming out of college, they're going to have these questions, and where do I go and where do I start? So that's why I really feel the Alliance is awesome in the sense that it's bringing all of these things together to customize that for each individual kid, whether they need help with career coaching or if it's financial or if it's nutrition or whatever it may be. The Alliance can provide that to them.
Yeah, amazing. Well, let's talk about a little bit about what they're going to get when they're in the room with you in these workshops. Now, I know you mentioned budgeting and maybe saving, and I know a lot of our kids, as they, especially our collegiate athletes, right, there might be some debt, student loans. why
Yeah.
do you think, and what do you think is important right now for students to learn in that transition period? What are, if maybe, the top two or three skills with financial planning and literacy?
Definitely how to give every dollar a name. When you bring money in, you need to have a plan for your money and not to just let it go. If you don't have a plan for your money, then it's just going to disappear and you're going to spend it on stuff you don't need, right? And so if you give every dollar a name and you plan for it, um, then you can make some real headway in what you're trying to accomplish. You definitely have to do that. You have to have a plan. Um, and part of that plan is fun as well. So it's not like we're being boring all the time and not doing anything, but it's planning that out and living within your means is one of the biggest things
I
for
love that.
sure. But those kids are going to come out of they're going to come out of college and the majority of them are going to have student loans. And I've worked with a ton of adults in this that are well into their 30s and 40s that are still paying off their student loans. And that's terrible. Like that has to be a terrible feeling that you're still doing that. So helping them devise a plan not to let it go on that long and get that taken care of so they can move on to other things.
Yeah. So true too. I know some of the feedback I get from our student athletes and even adults in that space is that they feel like they're playing from behind, right? It's like you're
Yeah.
stepping out into a new world full of opportunities, and you feel like you're kind of gripping in the financial arena. And it really, I think with a plan and the way that bring that knowledge to our student athletes allows our athletes to feel in control over that, and be educated around and have a timeline on, hey, you know what? Yeah, maybe I am playing from behind right now, but I have a plan to actually be proactive in this space. Do you find that for the students you've worked through has been really liberating and empowering?
Absolutely. If they can be in control of it and have a plan for it, they feel it's responsibility, it's independence, it's all that kind of stuff that they've been getting throughout those years. It's just the next level of it. And it's the next level of being an adult, right? And being able to be responsible for what you're doing.
It's a privilege. It's a
It's a
privilege to have that
right.
honor, right? Well, what athletes, so who right now, what are they experiencing if there's someone who really needs to get in the room with you? Like, is there something that they're feeling right now or actually experiencing in this transition out of sport that you feel like, hey, if you're feeling and experiencing this, you need to get into one of our workshops?
Sure. So I would say it's going to be that rising junior into college that they do have student loan debt that in when you're done school it's due within like 6 months. So you're going to have that debt come due and get a plan for that. And some students have where their parents are going to pay off their student loans for them. Not everybody has that either. So they need to have a plan for themselves of what they need to do. And I think between getting a plan with this and partnering up with some of the other providers within the alliance to help them with career coaching and things, we can really devise a good plan for them to set them up for success.
Yep. And we didn't even talk about this, but I think it's so important. Like some of the tools, like just having a simple budget and getting in the practice of using that. For you, Kristi, in your experience, what kind of success or feedback have you gotten just from student athletes having a simple tool like a budget where you're tracking and seeing those numbers?
Um, I mean, I get that. I get back from them that they just feel like they're in control of it. And then they actually feel like they have more money than what they thought they had because they can give that dollar a name, right? And um they can say, "Oh, well, okay, I can go to Starbucks twice and twice a week or whatever and it's allowed and it's in my budget, so I don't have to feel bad about it." Right? Or I can go out to eat and I can do these things. So they feel like they have more money because they're planning it all out.
Yeah. And what I hear in that is, there can be a lot of fear in this space and anxiety about the future, fear of the future as a result of just that uncertainty. So I love just the concept of, naming every dollar. I think it's such a great concept and certainly a great habit and skill set to acquire early on. Gosh, if we knew that in our early 20s, Kristi, where would we be now? No.
Exactly. Exactly. You're right. And that's why it would be great for high school students as well, because if we can set that foundation early, even as college students, but high school students, we set that foundation early to where they learn these things throughout their young years. It's going to set them up for success all throughout their adulthood.
And that's ultimately what we want to do at Beyond the Game Alliance is set these students
Absolutely.
up for success holistically and proactively. So Kristi, thank you so much for joining us today. Our mission here at the Alliance is to truly support these athletes in their game and beyond. And we all know how important finances are way after they lay the jersey down. And it really does contribute in many ways to lifelong success and fulfillment. So since we are a nonprofit, I want to invite you to join our mission to help fund all of these incredible resources for our athletes. There's really three big ways for you to give to Beyond the Game Alliance. One, if you're athletic director, a leader, a coach, a parent, or a student who thinks that this holistic approach may work for you, you can become one of our aligned providers or partners rather. Secondly, you can become an aligned provider, just like Kristi is. If you have a specific skill set these athletes can use and you yourself speak athlete, let's definitely start that conversation. And lastly, you can become a corporate sponsor if you're a business owner or who just has a heart for these athletes and you'd like to be a part of a mission to serve them. You can learn more about all of these ways to give at beyondthegamealliance.org. And if you want to stay in the loop, I'd also recommend subscribing to our YouTube channel or Facebook channel so you are in the know about all the happenings at Beyond the Game Alliance. Again, Kristi, thank you for joining us today. We will see you soon.
Thank you, Julie.